Hello again and welcome back to our course on PowerPoint 2013. In the previous section we saved a presentation to SkyDrive, and in this section I want to show you how you can both look at that presentation on SkyDrive without necessarily having an installation of PowerPoint 2013, and also how you can set up to share that presentation with other people. So first of all, let's open the browser and go to SkyDrive. So here I am at live.com again. I've put my Microsoft account email address in there, type in my password and click on sign in. And once I've signed in, go to SkyDrive. Note the options that are available on SkyDrive. I have four options at the bottom: new Word document, new Excel document, etc. These enable you to create new Word documents, Excel workbooks, PowerPoint presentations using the web versions of these pieces of software. Now we're going to talk about that in just a moment, but we also get access to things like recent documents and also documents shared with you. And where you have somebody sharing a document with you, this is one way that you'll be able to go in to access that document. But for the moment, let's just go into Documents, the top option. I can see that one of the folders is Parliament Presentation, so if I click on that, I will see my UK Parliament presentation there as a file. Now I'm going to right click on that presentation, and the range of options here is very important. First of all, we have two top options: Open in PowerPoint Web App and Open in PowerPoint. The second option will only be there if you have PowerPoint installed on the machine that you're accessing the presentation with. But if you don't have any installation of PowerPoint at all, you can still open it in the PowerPoint Web App and indeed work on it in PowerPoint Web App. Now I'm not going to go into detail here of what the difference between PowerPoint Web App and desktop PowerPoint is. You can't do as much in PowerPoint Web App, but you can do most of the things that you'd be likely to want to do on a standard presentation. I'm going to open this in PowerPoint Web App in just a moment, but I want to talk about a couple of the other options on this menu first. One option is to download the presentation, and another option, the one we're going to look at in a little while, is sharing, and this is where we share the presentation with other people. I'm not going to go into any of the other options in detail now. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory: rename, delete, move to, copy to, etc. But before we do anything else, let's just take a look at the PowerPoint Web App. Now when the presentation opens in the browser, it basically opens in a way that you can step through it. It's really a bit like Reading View really, and at the bottom of the display here you can see slide 1 of 6. It lets you step through the slides in the presentation, and basically where there are links they will work and so on. But you have a menu system up here, one where you can manage comments, so it's a great way of actually going through and making comments on a presentation, either one you're sharing or maybe one that's been shared with you. You also have the option of starting a slideshow here, but very importantly you have an edit presentation option, and from here you can decide whether you want to edit in PowerPoint. Notice it says there use the full functionality of Microsoft PowerPoint, or whether you want to edit in PowerPoint Web App. Make quick changes right here in your browser. So if you say edit in PowerPoint Web App, now the selection of things that you can do is restricted, but there are still many things that you can do, and if the changes that you want to make are not particularly complicated and you don't need the full range of shapes, for example, and that you don't need to be able to handle every kind of animation, for example, then you can certainly do straightforward pieces of work within the PowerPoint Web App. And don't forget, the big advantage of using the PowerPoint web app is that you don't need PowerPoint installed on the device you're using. So if you're on the other side of the world, you don't have your regular PC or laptop with you, all you have is access to an internet browser, you can literally go in and use the PowerPoint web app and you can make changes to presentations. So when we finish working on this, it's got its own little sort of backstage view. So I'm going to do an exit from that to my presentation, and I'm going to right click again. Now let's take a look at sharing. Now there are 2 or 3 mechanisms for sharing a presentation on SkyDrive with other people, and we're going to quickly look at those in just a moment. But before we do, I need you to be aware of something, and that is that when you share a presentation, you can share it with somebody in one of 2 ways. One way of sharing it with them is to give them read-only access, so the person can literally use the link you send them, open the presentation and read it. They can step through it, they can look at it, they can read the information, they cannot change it. The second option is to give people the ability to edit the presentation, to change it in the way that you can. Now these are governed in this situation by this checkbox here. If that checkbox is checked, recipients can edit. It may well be that when you come to share this presentation, you do 2 operations. One operation is to share it with people who can edit it, and one operation is to share it with people who cannot edit it. So let's look at these options for sharing now. Over on the left, share. You can send an email, you can post it on Facebook, Twitter or LinkedIn, or you can get a link. Now I'm not going to go into Facebook etc. here. Pretty straightforward. If you click on that option, then follow the instructions, you'll be able to share it with named groups or people using one of those 3 social media services. Send email is the first one to look at. All I need to do here is to type in the name of one of my colleagues, friends. I can actually type in several names or use a distribution list. I can put in a personal message if I want to, and then I click on share. Don't forget what I said just now. If you leave that box checked, you'll be sharing access with those people, and when they access the presentation, they'll be able to change it. So if you've got one person, say a colleague, a co-worker you're working on this presentation with, you might well put their email address in here, type in a suitable message, say, hi Jane, here's that presentation, please make your changes and let me know when you've done. Leave recipients can edit checked, click on share. If you just want people to be able to read it, put their address or addresses in there, maybe a distribution list, again a message, make sure that box is unchecked and click on share. The person or people will get an email message with a link that they click on, and when they've clicked on that link, then SkyDrive, your Microsoft account and PowerPoint take care of their access to your presentation. Now the other main option for sharing is this one, get a link. And if you click on get a link, you get basically 3 sorts of link. You get a view only link, which you can send to people. You could actually email the link to them, put it into an email message, or maybe even post it on your website. Anyone with this link can see the files you share. If you click on this button, you get a link where anyone with this link can see and edit the files you share. So again, you could provide this to somebody who's working on the PowerPoint presentation with you, and you'd not want to publish this link obviously in a public place, but it might be useful, rather than emailing it to somebody, to be able to put it in a secure location for them. And this one is the one where you say make public. Anyone can search for and view your public files, even if you don't share a link. So this is the way that you can take a presentation that you've got stored on SkyDrive and make it publicly accessible, so people don't even need to have a link sent to them. So get a link is the other way of sharing your PowerPoint presentation that's stored on SkyDrive. So that's it as far as sharing and SkyDrive is concerned. I'd like to leave you with one exercise to do here. This isn't one where you're going to specifically produce a presentation. I want you to take the most recent presentation that you've made yourself, and I want you to store it on SkyDrive. You don't necessarily need to share it with anybody. Of course you can do if you want to, but I'd just like you to save it to SkyDrive. Now if you have a particular reason not to save something on SkyDrive or not to get a Microsoft account, then obviously you don't need to do this. But if you already have a Microsoft account, it should be very straightforward. If not, as I say, you can get a Microsoft account for free, and you may find it useful for other aspects of using PowerPoint 2013 and Office 2013. But make sure you get SkyDrive set up and save one of your presentations to it, just to make sure that you understand how that all works and that you can use that in the future. That's it for this section. I'll see you in the next one.